intro or nothing.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, there is a bad stigma. I think it's based. I think a lot of that I believe is based on society and what they accept. But I also think a lot of society is people are like willing to like not take care of it, like especially with men. I feel like men nowadays are more willing to just be like, I don't want to take care of the kid than we're back in the day.
It's such a, I don't know how to explain it, because there's a different accountability, different angles that you look at it. Not necessarily like the stigma as a negative side, but like just people in general, like
There was shame on. I know there was shame put on me, even though it was not anything that I did. But I became a single mom, and shame was put on me.
Yeah, but and I guess like mine is like not necessarily like the stigma in the sense of like shame and stuff like that, but like the standard, like people just, there's a standard for single moms compared to single dad, or I don't know about single dads, but single moms in the sense of like they expect that moms can do it all.
Yeah.
And I mean, I struggle with that just because of past relationships where like the accountability of me against this one particular person that, you know, got their child every so often sort of thing, and, you know, me needing help, like my standard, there was just a standard for me that, you know, I was much higher than person B, and it was more so, I feel like it was more so of a female perspective, like as a mom, like you're just held to a different standard.
Well, you put yourself there,
and
so you just got to deal with it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just different.
Good conversation.
There you go. You can keep some of that if you want. Because we're just trying to like figure out like what to say for that question, because
I mean, it can be a long conversation. I mean, depending on, you guys got somewhere to be? You? I mean, if I could be alone with you guys, I mean, when we sit here and talk and things, but I say I'm very opinionated. But I mean, it's like, you hear and talk like, I mean, even from a guy perspective, I mean, that's something that's serious.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of men, you think about it, a lot of men want to take on responsibility of talking to a woman with a child. You think about it, because then when you're coming to with me, I feel like I would feel bad for coming to a situation with a mother, because I know I'm going to get attached to the kid.
Yeah.
And then if me and the mom don't work out, now I got to realize now not only did the kid, if he doesn't see his father a lot, he going to miss another man that was in his life. And now the kid sitting here just used to not having a father around. If I try to step in and be like, oh, I like the kid and this and be with the mother, but unfortunately a lot of times it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So now the kid is like, dang, now I don't have, now another father's gone, and now I got to sit here and feel bad, because like, I love the kid, but I just can't be with the mom.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely hard on the child.
Yeah.
That's why I chose not to date right now.
Yeah. I mean, same
My
here.
boys ask me that.
Unless I find somebody, and I think that's where like kind of perspectives type, to each their own in that sense. But I was raised by a single mom, and don't get me wrong, like there was a couple of guys that like still to this day that I remember that she dated that I was just like, I wish I could have stayed connected with them because they were really my father figure. And so, but I know for me as a single mom right now, and I became a single mom through adoption of my nephew, and so I've had him for 3 years, and I mean prior to having him, like I was not like necessarily ashamed to date, but like I was more willing to go out and date because I didn't have this child where this child could potentially get hurt emotionally, physically, whatnot. And so, but now that I have him and I've had him for 3 years, and it's just one of those things that I think about, like, you know, just meeting new people and starting to date. Like, can I trust this person to not only take care of my heart, but to take care of my child's heart? But can I trust this person not to physically or sexually harm my child or me in front of my child? Because my mom was sexually assaulted and beat in front of me as a child, and so that's something that I don't want my son to witness, and I don't want my son to have to undergo any trauma in that sense. And so it's like really like I have more of a hesitant to want to get out there and date. And so if that right person kind of came along, I feel like for me, you and I are going to have to be dating for a hot minute, and us to be talking serious of like, we want to get married, this is what we have our goals in mind, this, that, and other, before introducing him to my son, because to protect him. And so, and if it got to the point where like we are serious, okay, like we can start being in the picture, and kind of hang out with him and let me get a vibe for how my son interacts with you versus like how you interact with him. So I mean, I guess just each person is like
Different.
they're different, you know. My mom was not like that, and so it's like I felt like I'm kind of learning from her mistakes of just bringing whoever in. I mean, we were actually taken away from my mom due to a boyfriend of hers, and it's not anything that happened to me, but something that happened to my brother. And so, yeah, I mean, we were taken away, and I mean, that's a lifelong traumatized effect on not just myself, but my brother. And my brother has suffered severely from this. I mean, he's currently in jail right now, and I have his kid. So it's just one of those things that, like, each person is different, and you know, for me, like, there's no judgment. You can do what you need to do, what's best for you. But what's best for me, for my son, is, yeah, like, I don't want to date until I know for sure. Like, I mean, that person, it's going to take I always say it's going to take a true, legit man to climb my wall. And not only break down my wall, but break down my child's wall.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it will become protective, and not all single moms probably think the same way. Yeah, I definitely, my children are my number one, and they went through so much rejection and so much abandonment feeling that I don't want to be responsible for that. So I'd rather wait until, which, I mean, they're teenagers now. No rush.
No, I mean, it's fine. I mean, that's a lot of things. I feel like, I think moms try their best. I feel, I mean, not to show pity, but I mean, I always feel more sorry for women than for men. I mean, it's got like a lot of the way the world is, it's like women are looked at in a certain light. Especially, like you said, if you have a kid or you're just a woman out here trying to make it, like, even for like an example, it's like, what can you really do when you're just trying your best, and then it seems like the world doesn't want you to get there? I mean, especially with the way it is, especially the way bills are due, and like when bills are due, I mean, a lot of people have two incomes coming in.
especially in today's economy.
Correct.
And you feel like the world is against you. You feel alone. You feel like there's nobody there to. Everybody gets you, but nobody gets you, really. You know, you be surrounded by family and people, but they don't get it. It's hard. It's hard to be a single mom. It's hard to balance everything out. So having a community of other single moms and other women that gets it, it's definitely important.
Yeah, I've seen my mom. My mom was a single mom. She dated a couple guys and stuff like that. But like, I guess I never really understood like the sense of like having like, well, I had my father. Of course, he was. I think I seen like we were like an arrangement where you see like I would go to my father like every other weekend. Like my mom had me one weekend, my dad had me the other weekend, but like I didn't really have like a steady father.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's always since like some guy would come in. I mean, of course we would have a connection. Cause I was like, you know, I'm like a little kid. You know, it didn't really bother me that much. But I mean, I also think like over time, it kind of made me think like, what does it really mean to like be a man?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I mean, as a mother, there's only so much you can do. I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, but I feel like a lot of women have taken on like a masculine role, trying to teach their son to be like to do that. But I'm just thinking like, how could you if you're just trying to survive yourself?
Yep. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, she's got 2 boys still at home, and I have a little boy, and I mean, over the summertime, I remember, I think I told you, I just like broke down in tears one night, like, because my son was just being real defiant and hard, and he's not really good with change or anything like that, and so school had just let out, and into daycare, Stranger Things, and doing VBS and stuff like that, and he was just being kind of ornery in that sense, and it was pretty tough this particular night, and he just looked at me, and he kept just hitting daggers, and I finally and as a human, like, you try, as a single mom, and I don't know, I say as a single mom, and maybe this goes for just moms in general, but as a single mom, you can only take so much of the daggers of, I mean, your kids, I mean, they don't understand what it's like, and especially this is all they know right now. But to the point, like, I just get these daggers at me from him, and just what he was saying, how he was, he wasn't really minding all that well, and I finally I broke down and started crying, and that right there, when I started crying in front of him, it flipped a switch for him, and he saw, and he was like, Mom, like, what's wrong? Why are you crying? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry, like this, that, and another. And even though he's 6 years old, like, I broke down and I told him, I said, baby, I can't be it all for you. And I'm so sorry that you are missing out on having a father figure in your life, or a healthy father figure. I said, but right now, all we can do is pray and allow God to be our Abba, to be our Father. And so, I'm telling you, my 6-year-old, in that moment, whenever I said that to him, he literally started praying out loud for the both of us. And that's all he ever wants, is a dad figure in his life. But he knows until that moment comes that, I mean, God is our provider. He is our daddy God. And I mean, he's going to take care of us until we have our earthly husband, father. So,
Yeah, not having that person to back us up.
yeah.
The father figure being there and backing us up. We are the one that's doing all, and the authority, we're the authority, but we don't have that other person to back us up. So it makes it very difficult.
It makes it very difficult because we're supposed to, as a mom, if you think about it, your mom and your father, your mother offers the nurturing side and the love and the soft and the kind, and the maternal side of teaching you, like, your basic stuff in life of, one, like, what love looks like from a woman to a man, and then your husband, the father, teaches you how to not only love and grow your family financially, spiritually, or anything like that, but, like, shows you how to treat the women in your life, but also shows you how to treat your family and how to be that sole provider in that sense. Because to me, whenever I look to a man, and not just a man, but, like, if I were to get married or anything like that, and my idea of a relationship is the father is that head, and the mom is like the neck, helps sustain in that sense. And so I feel like the two together is that partnership of being able to control and show and be that example to your family. And so when you don't have that head in that sense, and you're doing it all by yourself, like, I mean, you're only stretched so much, like, you're stretched so thin to the point to where you're breaking. And I mean, yeah, I guess that's hard, but I don't know how we got down this.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just, it really does take both. So, but when you have one parent being both, it is hard. And yeah, sometimes kids kind of suffer in a sense, but people and children, I mean, they're resilient. And I ultimately just believe with God, like, everything's gonna be possible and work out.
I think it would be great to have men, like the men in the church or in the community, that would step up and mentor, especially those boys. Take them out fishing and being around that what you call it, that male authority figure in their lives, that because they don't get that. So it would be great to have that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else like in community that people can do to help?
How can they do that?
Like in the community?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's all I ever wanted.
I have had several people ask me, several men that I've encountered just in everyday life, like people that come up here. I mean, there's one particular person that every time he sees me, when am I going to take my buddy fishing? And I'm like, and he's never met my child before in my life, or before in his life, and I'm just like, I don't know, you know? And so, I guess, like, it's just hard for me, and I can't speak for any single mom or any mom in general.
Yeah.
But for me, it's very hard for, even if there's people out in the community that had big brother programs or big sister programs, I still have a hard time trusting someone to take my son without me. Like, I mean, honestly, in the sense of just anyone who takes him without me present, I mean, it's just a handful of people. And like the ones that have taken him male figure wise, has been either my dad, bonus dad, or one of my brothers. And I mean,
yeah, it probably would have to be in a group setting to be a safe, at first especially. I know by experience that one of my sons had a mentor from church. The man stepped up and said, "Hey, I want to be his mentor," and he became his mentor, and it did a lot for him. It really was a positive thing. So I think it would be a great thing. Again, you have to really trust that person.
Yeah, it's ultimately trusting. So I guess like what, as single moms, in the sense of having that male figure come in, I think honestly, like for me to feel safe, is I would want, really and truly, I would love to see male figures volunteer at Monday Night Thrive.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Not necessarily the child care program, but just volunteer to help. So that way the moms see their presence, get to know who they are, get more acclimated and comfortable with them, and see that, okay, like, yeah, they're here to mentor and love and respect and be godly and show godly love. Just because, I mean, yeah, I have a hard time trusting just anybody. And so having somebody come in and see that work in them there I think that would be phenomenal. I'm also a part of another organization here in town that I've seen a lot of men step up and volunteer in that sense. And those guys I actually, over time, have started, because I've seen them so much there, that like I would be like, I've been willing to like, okay, yeah, my son can go with you and hang out with you, because I have built that trust with them. But I mean,
so they would be part of the community of the single moms first before.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not saying, you know anything else they can do to help the community?
I mean, helping the moms in the sense, I mean, some moms, we do have moms that have their own houses and their own property that they have to take care of, and there might be some maintenance issues in the sense of, hey, like we can't afford somebody to come and like the light is 12 feet up in the air, and like we don't have a ladder, or we don't have this, and like we don't have the funds to just have somebody come out and hang up the light bulb or fix the leaking pipe under the sink, like
Some come and do yard work.
yeah, stuff like that would be helpful for single moms, especially if they, like I said, if they own their own home, or they're renting and they have to take care of the yard. Because that's a lot of responsibility. I mean, I have a half-acre lot, and I mean, I mow my grass, but I have a riding lawnmower, and then after that, I'm not about to weed eat. A lot of times I've paid her kids to come weed eat my house. So, but things like that, like helping around the house, like handyman work, and even like car maintenance work, like coming in and helping with that. Like we have a couple of our moms whose their ACs in their car have been out for quite some time, and they don't know anyone that can help with that resource-wise, and a lot of times they really don't have the funds to fix that, so they just kind of go without.
I want to ask you, what was the reason for creating Shine?
The reason to create Shine. So Susie Shepard is the co-founder of Shine the Coffee Shop. So, but our 501c3 is actually our harbor of hope for families. And so, and how that was brought about was, myself, so Susie's my stepmom. And so myself, Susie, and my aunt, Janet, the three of us had this stirring in us for a couple of weeks, and we couldn't quite figure out what the stirring was. And so much so that like Susie did some praying, I was praying, and just at separate times. We did not collaborate with this. Didn't know that we were supposed to collaborate or anything. And I had this stirring, and I thought it was I needed to serve more in the capacity of helping with the foster kids. And so I signed up to be a CASA volunteer, which is a court-appointed advocate specialist for children in foster care. And so basically you're their voice in the courtroom. You stand and talk for them and stuff like that and advocate for them. And so I was like week 1 into doing that, and I still just felt like my heart was not quite at peace. I'm like, well, God, what are you telling me that I need to be doing right now? And literally I was in the shower, and like I had my eyes closed, rinsing out shampoo out of my hair, and it hit me, and I just saw this vision in my head with my eyes closed. And I get out, and like as soon as I get out, I'm texting Susie, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've been stirring something. There's been something going on inside, like, and I have this vision. And so I tell her the layout of my vision, and she's like, oh my gosh, I need you to come over tomorrow. And so I went over. She took me to this place downtown. It was not this location, but it's over there by the old Ice House and Salvation Army. And it has 7 storefronts, and it has 2 like restaurants and stuff across the courtyard. And we both, like, she shows it to me. She's like, I don't know why, but like Susie was saying like she was having this wrestling, and she was praying and stuff like that. And she found this place, and so she took me to it, and we both get out and we're walking it, and we just had this sense of like God was speaking to us at that moment. And we could just see the vision. And what's so crazy is so we saw that vision, but like when we got Shine, and we had one of our artists that came here and helped set up the art space, and was also a huge advocate for all the moms, and also mentors to a lot of our moms. She was a single mom as well. She was from the Austin area, and she would go around getting trash, and she would turn it into art. And so her philosophy or theme behind that was there's beauty through ashes. And what's so weird is when we went, Susie and I at the very beginning, when we went and like looked at that place, that is what we saw. And I remember telling Susie, and we both were like, this is beauty through ashes, is that even though as single moms, and just women in general, like there's things that are like brokenness everywhere, but God takes that brokenness and what some people would say would be ashes because it's ugly, it's bare, it's raw, but He takes it and He pieces it together and forms that beautiful love through Him. And so walking that property, I mean, you could tell that there was drugs being formed there. Homelessness was there. There's all kinds of just trash everywhere. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when we were walking, there was a Bible that was opened up, and you could tell that had been stepped on. Stuff had been blacked out and crossed out, and it broke me. And I just remember sitting there, and I didn't touch it, but I was just looking at it. And I was like, God, like, let this be the beauty through ashes right here. And it's so crazy how in that moment of me and Susie looking at the property and like feeling that moment of what are we doing? And we knew we had to contact my Aunt Janet. And Aunt Janet had the same stirring that we didn't know. And she felt God calling her that like, I'm supposed to be doing something with Susie and Carrie. I'm not sure what it is, but she had that calling. And so the 3 of us get together, we show Aunt Janet the property. And it turns out that property, my Uncle JR, which is Susie's brother, and Aunt Janet's husband, who has been deceased for about 5 years, he walked that same property, and he had a vision for it, and didn't tell anybody but Aunt Janet, and had Aunt Janet walk that property with him. And so it's just crazy that like how it just kind of came like full circle. And we collaborated and sat down, and we kind of just shared our visions. And about a week later, I had a dream, and within my dream, I was sitting at my parents' table, and Susie was there, my dad was there, my Uncle JR was there, and my Aunt Janet was there. And for whatever reason, like, my dad was sharing with Uncle JR about our vision, and in my dream it was just so very clear, and I shared it with Susie and Aunt Janet the moment I woke up, because I was crying, and Uncle JR was saying, he's got this, go for it, like, don't hold back. And it was in reference to us starting our ministry and our vision. And so our initial vision is called The Harbor, but our 501c3 is our Harbor of Hope for Families. And so the Harbor is, our vision is to house single moms and build that community, teach them how to garden, grow their food, cook dinner, manage their bills, how to finance, or not finance, but how to budget and understand their credit score, so that way they can become better at being able to provide for their families. Because a lot of times moms do get stuck in a rut, and like, I can tell you, I spent a lot of money on attorney fees, stuff like that, and just last year I had to replace my roof, and that's not cheap by any means, and I had to cut down several trees that were killed by the Snowmageddon storm that we had in 2021. And so just all of that within the last year really kind of just added up. And so, for me as a mom, like a lot of other moms, like I can only imagine, that don't have that community support, they struggle financially, and they're taking things out on credit loans and not paying it back, and their credit is so low that they're not able to get into a nice apartment. And so there's just all that stigma that comes with it, like, you can't manage your money, you can't provide for your family, like, you're in low income based housing because this and this, and like, look what you've done, like, so there's just this stigma. And like, and so with the Harbor, we wanted to be able to house them and love on them and show them Jesus' love. And that's kind of like how Shine came about. And so we always talked about having some form of a coffee shop. We just didn't know when or where that looked like, and how it was going to get set up. And so we have different little locations that we went and visited. And then, of course, 2020 COVID happened and kind of put a damper and a stop to a lot of our planning that year. And so Susie actually really navigated and piloted Shine. And so, and she got this going, and the vision with Shine was, or with the coffee shop per se, was to bring awareness to the Harbor and to our mission and our vision of what we're doing for single moms in our community. But with Shine, the vision of Shine as the coffee shop is almost like an umbrella to our ministry to help provide awareness for who we are, but help provide sustainability. Yes, the coffee shop brings in money, but that money goes back to our community to serve our single moms here. But we're able to get grants and stuff like that because we are a nonprofit. That's just a nonprofit world. But anything that we bring in goes back to serving moms in the community. And so, but Shine, we do exist to bring community, a safe place for not only single moms, but women of all backgrounds to have that community, to build strength and relationships and stuff. Because I love the analogy that Susie used at our conference this past Saturday. She stated that we as a community, we are the circle, and sometimes you're on the outside of the circle and sometimes you're in the inside of the circle. And when you build that community, that safe space, that judgment-free zone of being able to come to a friend and talk to them, it's like, I know, like Lola, I always tell her she's like my work mom, but there's like, I can come to Lola with anything, like personal health issues, like, just anything family related, like job stuff. Like, I can go to her and know that she's not going to judge me. She's going to look at it and she's like, oh girl, I understand, but they're done that, like, here's this. Whereas some other people might be like, girl, you're weird. Like, nope, don't want to talk about that. And so with us building that strong community and us having that outer circle, we're able to take that person or those people that are in the center that need it the most, to love them, equip them, pray over them, give them the hope that they need within a community, because there's a lot of people who really don't have community. And I mean, it's taken me, I moved here from the Houston area, and I've been here, I think almost 6 years. And it's taken me, like, out of the 6 years, it's taken me a good 3.5, 4 years to really build a true community that I know that I can trust, that when I call them and say, hey, like, I have this attorney coming to my house that is going to do a home inspection. I already keep my home clean, but the details. One of the moms came over, helped me clean, helped get things organized. Or hey, last minute, like, hiccup, I need a sitter. Lolo helped me with my son. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, we are here to build that community, to where moms can have that strong circle to help lift them up when they're down. So.
Yeah, and so we have Monday Night Thrive every Monday nights. It's a 7-week sessions, but that where we invite all women, but we focus mainly on the single moms. And we get together, we feed them, we have childcare for the kids. The kids probably have more fun than we have. But they learn things that we're also learning. We have a speaker that comes in, and sometimes it's about health, sometimes it's about parenting. It's just different topics. And then we have breakout sessions where we all sit at different tables and just kind of discuss what we just heard. So, and it's a good place to be because you don't have any judgment. Everybody is in different kind of situations, but we all go through something. So it's we're able to be vulnerable and just share. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry. It's a really good place to be, a good time for all of us to get together. We've had quite a few people, women coming in, and yeah, we're kicking it back off on Monday. I'm excited. So that's one way we have that community. We also have, at the coffee shop, we have products that we sell that single mom makes. So they receive a kit of things to make, and then when they're finishing them up, we can help them with a utility bill or something such. So what other things do we have?
I wanted to ask you about the 6811.
Okay, so that's a membership. The 6811 is a membership that we just kicked off this summer. It's $68.11 a month, and you receive 3 boxes of products a year. And what that does, 6811 helps.
Just the sustainability
that's the word. Of helping single moms to be able to help them. There's a lot of other things that you get monthly.
Updates.
Different support. I think they get like a health coach or somebody that comes and talks with them. So there's a lot of benefits. The membership is for 300 women to jump in and help and partner with us in helping single moms in the community. So we're still looking for those 300 women. We have quite a few, but still inviting women to come on and partner with us.
Yep.
And the 6811 is based on Psalm 6811.
There we go.
That's where the number comes from.
Okay. I want to ask you guys about Warrior. I seen that you were the director.
So Warrior Women is the part where Warrior Women is all the women that's in the ministry, we're the team, Warrior Women team, and we just minister to all the women that we serve. That's all the women that we serve. So, like we have if we organize events, we have different events during the year for the women. We do Christmas parties, Thanksgiving meals. Then we have the Monday Night Thrive on Monday nights. We organize Bible studies, different groups like that. Yeah. And then Carrie is our mom's advocate, and you'll go.
Yeah. So what I do for my portion is I meet up with moms, and so yes, within the community, our goal is to bring community to women of all backgrounds, but the heart of our mission is to serve single moms. So I work with single moms who are needing resources, and so what that looks like is if somebody calls or sends in an application through online, I call them, we set up a time to meet up. And the reason why I meet up with the moms is because it gives the moms that more personal interaction with me, and they get a sense for who we are, how we serve, while also I get to connect with her and get to see who she is and how, you can sit there and call over the phone and say, this is what I need, but when you're talking to somebody, you can kind of get a feel for, okay, there's a lot more than just, I want or I need community. Like, hey, we offer counseling, like we do this, we do that, just to kind of explain to them, so that way they're like, oh, then they're more at rest and at ease when it's face to face to kind of breathe and be able to tell you what it is that they're needing, and be able to be open and honest and be able to cry with you and like lean on you and have prayer with you in that present moment when you're talking about that hard stuff. And so that's why I like to do it in person. And so but yeah, and if it's like resources that we're not able to help with, I know other resources here in town or within the surrounding area that I can point them to. If it's like assistance with rent, utilities, anything like that, I'm able to send them to another organization, or I can tell them, oh, hey, there's this thing online that you can fill out that the state does, or what have you. And so sometimes there's some moms that are like, hey, like, where do I go for groceries? I can be able to point them in that direction. And so, but yeah, like it's really nice to, and I'm able to like come up with ideas and plans to help moms, and kind of like whenever I was a cost advocate, like just advocating, being their voice when they feel like they don't have it or not knowing where to go, just helping them be that voice of encouragement and direction.
Yeah,
so
it's more than just coming to you and say, hey, can you write me a check?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more, and I think a lot of single moms don't realize how much they're needing the community. So once they experience that, it's like, oh, I don't want to do without it. I need that. So, and that's what we do. We offer that community for them. That's that community.
I'm going to ask, how many different programs do you guys offer? Is it like when you say the ministry, how do you join the ministry?
So how the women join the ministry is typically through Monday Night Thrive. And sometimes they get referrals through churches and stuff like that. And some of them, they don't necessarily go straight to Monday Night Thrive. What happens is a church will refer them to us, and I meet up with them, and that's where I encourage them to go to Monday Night Thrive. Like, get you involved in the community, because really and truly, God did not put us on earth to simply live our own lives by ourselves without community. Like he made Adam, or he had Adam and then saw that he needed a partner in life. And so he made Eve. And so there's a reason for God creating that community. Like it takes more than just one person to simply just live, And so, but we are, we're made for community. And I really push that for our single moms, because single motherhood alone can be so isolating. You love your kids. Everyone loves their kids. Like, you would do anything for them. But there are times that you need adult interaction. You need that reassurance that what you're doing for your child is good. You need advice on, my child's doing this. How do I cope with this? How do I deal with this? Or how do I redirect? And so it's really nice to have that community. And so, there are some moms that are that come in and they're crying and they're like, we don't know what's going on, or you know, we need people, but we don't want people, and that's right there. That's an enemy, and that's depression. And so it's like, okay, like how do we help you? Okay, are you open to counseling? Are you open to this? Are you open to that? Let me show you where to go to get that, and where to feel loved and stuff like that. And so yeah.
And then on Monday Night Thrive, the kids go in their area, and then the kids get around the other kids and realize, oh, you don't have a dad either. So it's kind of like they have that connect, that, you know, because in school you have kids, oh, my mom, my dad. But when the kids are with Monday Night Thrive in the childcare area, they have that in common. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of nice for them to know that, okay, I'm not different because I don't have a mom or I don't have a dad. Everybody's the same, in the same boat. Mm-hmm. So it's nice for them.
I want to ask you, how many different programs you got?
Programs in the sense of...
Oh, like, you said counseling and stuff like that. Like, you guys do that in-house? You guys...
So we partner for counseling. We partner with one other organization here in town. And so we do offer that counseling. And so for the moms and for the kids, and that's all in that one facility. And then we do offer some form of Bible study throughout the week. We just had our big conference, so we have that. We did first ever this year too as well. On top of the conferences, we hosted our first ever back to school bash, and we had some volunteers come, and we had backpacks filled with basic school supplies, and we had licensed hairstylists there that volunteered and gave basic haircuts to single moms and their kiddos, or not single moms, but single mom families of kiddos that were actually going into school. So it was a neat little opportunity program in the sense that we serve in that way. And so, yeah, I mean...
What inspired you guys to do that program, the back to school bash?
That actually kind of was my baby in the sense. I've always... I am a licensed hairstylist, and I've been licensed for 15, almost 16 years, and it's crazy to say that. And I worked full-time in a hair salon for about, I would say, 14 years. And I've always had it in my heart that, because, I mean, like I said, my mom was a single mom, and there was times that, like, myself and my brother, luckily, in the beginning when we were in elementary and stuff like that, we were able to get haircuts from my grandma because my grandma did hair. But after a while, you know, your grandma, you know, retires and she can't quite do things. She's not up to par with the trends and stuff like that. And so you're just like, I have to go somewhere else to get my haircut. And my mom wasn't able to do that on top of school clothes and school supplies. And it was, I remember watching her struggle and being like, she would look at the difference in prices of, like, I remember I really want the Lisa Frank stuff, and my mom was like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't have that, it's too expensive. And I'm like, but mom, and all my friends had it, but all my friends had both mom and dad present, and I just had mom. And so it's just one of those things that, like, just being able to take the load off the moms for back to school. And I knew for a fact that, like, whenever I got my hair license, I volunteered. I did a couple of back to school haircut sessions at my church in my hometown, and we would offer 2 hours of haircut services. And I mean, it was a big church, and so we would do a lot of haircuts, and that was just for anyone. But my thing is like that heart to serve the single mom community, just the relatability of having other single moms come and join you versus just, oh, you're not a single mom, you're married, you have a husband, you have that support, and how am I supposed to come in there and, like, face you when you have all this stuff? And so it's nice to have it just exclusively for our single moms, to love on them. And there was a time for play. Like, we had popsicles and popcorn, and we had a water slide, and they had a little playground that they could play on. And so it was fun. Like, we had, there was one mom in particular that I remember, she went down the big water slide with her little boy, and it was the cutest little thing to watch them just laugh and cut up. And so it was really unique and fun. And so, yeah, it's just always been my heart's desire to offer those free haircuts for moms. And so, and when we really got acclimated here, I was just like, this is what I'm doing. and we did it. So, but yeah, it was pretty fun and pretty exciting. So,
That's good. I want to ask you guys about the conference was it Saturday, correct?
yeah, this past Saturday.
I said, I told you, I was scrolling through Facebook and looking at it. Sometimes you got to post about how we're planning and everything. I was wondering, like, how does one plan for like a conference that big? Do you just send out emails to everybody out there?
So it takes a full team to plan that conference. That was our first conference, and it was very big. And we have gotten so many compliments saying that it felt like a conference that has been hosted several times, and that we did a really great job. And so that really kind of boils down to having a great team, but also it being spirit-led. Like, we could not have done it without God being really involved, because the enemy was really at work last week. I can tell you that much. Like, the level of exhaustion between all of us, any and everything that could have possibly gone wrong went wrong last week, right before the conference. The night of the conference, a crazy storm hit Tyler and knocked out all of the power at the conference center, and they had to go back in. Mind you, we had to set up for this conference like an hour and a half before we got started, and we did it. I don't know how, and they also had people come out and I guess set up the electricity, and I had to recircuit it or whatever. I don't know if that's a word, but and so, but I mean, we got it, and
a lot of the community came in and helped. We had women from the community they were hosts for each table had a host, so that helped, having them being the what you call it, they initiate the conversations and things like that. And then, I mean, we had a worship team come in. We had speakers from the community that came in. So it was really a community event. It was just not our team. It was a whole bunch of people.
It took, Spearhead, it takes one vision, but then it takes a whole lot of people to come around and make that vision come to life. So.
And then we had vendors. That was great to have. Gives an opportunity for the moms and the ladies to be able to shop.
Yeah, not just shop, but there was also resource vendors there as well.
Yeah, true.
To gain information on where they can get extra help and stuff like that. So.
Okay. So I want to ask you guys, how do you guys see Sean in the next 5 years?
Oh.
The property.
I don't know why, but I really feel like by the end of 2024 we're gonna have that property. I don't know why, but I just feel like that's on my heart.
Right around the corner.
It's right around the corner, but we really don't know what's going on. Everything's just kind of at a standstill in that sense. But I don't know why God just gave me that vision of end of 2024 we're gonna have the property and hopefully start up the beginning of 2025 with being able to host moms in our community there at the property and being able to love on them and experience what that's like, being able to show them God's grace and love and mercy for them. And I'm just really excited about that.
I would see Monday Night Thrive, those small groups nationwide. I'd love to have. That's one of the big goals from Warrior Women is to have, and then we're working on that. We have some groups that's getting ready to start in different states. Who knows? It could be even worldwide.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, you can't put a limit on God.
Being from France, my cousin was visiting from France, and I was telling him what I did, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so needed in France. I mean, they have the government helping them there, but they don't get a community." And I'm like, "Oh, do you know single mom for you to realize that that's needed there?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's needed. It's definitely needed." Yeah. So it's not just in the state.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Oh yeah. I mean, there could be so much that I would love to be able to resource in the sense of just having an in-house counselor and I know for me personally, like I'm going to school and my heart is to get my social work degree and help understand, but also I'm like, I kind of low-key want to be a counselor, and also be TBRI certified, which is trust-based relationships, and just being able to anchor and like tell the moms and love on the moms and love on kiddos from hard places and stuff like that. And so, and help moms who might have a CPS case on them, like being able to coach them how to love their babies, how to get themselves help, because really and truly the root of any CPS case is prior stuff that has happened in their lives as in the parents and stuff like that. And so that's just my vision of having stuff that's in-house to where it's at their fingertips to be able to help them grow it from the inside out. And so, and that's more than just slapping a Band-Aid on a bill, paying a bill. It is to the heart, to their souls from the inside out, to help them so they're not in that position every month. So
And once you help them, it helps them to be a better mom for the kids. They're more
it's
present. there for the
generational
children.
cycle breakers, and that's what we hope to better, is to be those cycle breakers, to stop those curses, if you will, and just heal. And so
I want to ask you guys like one personal question. I noticed, I talked to my friend about it, and we were talking about how like a lot of moms put like all their heart into their kid. Like they like sometimes mom pours from like an empty cup. So what advice would you guys give to tell like a single mother to like care for herself and her kid at the same time? I feel it's hard to do both.
that is hard. It's very, very hard, because again, it boils down to that trusting people. And so within our community of Monday Night Thrive, it's almost the best of both worlds. Like, our kids are there with us, they're safe, they're taken care of. There's a police officer that's on guard to make sure there's no crazy stuff going on. And knowing that our kids are being taken care of, there's dinner provided for them, but they're also being fed spiritually, while we're getting that opportunity to rejuvenate and get our cups filled back up. Because as a single mom, and it's especially for me, like there are times that I'm taking 3 classes right now, working full time and being a full time single mom. And so there are times that you're just tired. And so, in your stubborn ways of being exhausted, like you're like, I don't have time for one more thing. But when you make something a priority of there's something coming up this upcoming Saturday where I'm like, I'm so tired, I don't think I'm going to do this. But at the same time, I'm like, I need this time for me to refill my cup, to go have fun, to let loose, and to do because I am a person, because once my child is grown and out of the house, like, he's not going to need me anymore. And so I just
He will, but in a different way.
Yeah. And so, and so I'm like prioritizing that time for myself, and making myself actually commit to those things. And it's hard, but it's definitely needed. And so I do have to say, there was one night, there's times that I just really want to go get a massage or a facial, and you don't have the time, or you don't have the finances or the budget, the extra money for it. But there was that night that KV&E, they put on a event for our single moms, and they allowed us, since we were single moms too, to participate in getting services. And they did massages, and they pampered the moms. They put really pretty makeup on our moms. They did a little photo shoot with their kids. They did their hair, and I was like, I just want a massage.
That was me.
I went in there, and it was, I remember thinking oh my gosh, I needed that. Just the nice little break from your mind is shut off. You're getting a massage, you're relaxing, and you're just being able to breathe. And so that was really, really nice. And so I feel like we need more of those.
That's part of the self-care. We
Yes.
have to put ourselves first when it comes to refilling that cup. We need that. And we do get that on Monday nights when we do Monday Night Thrive. like you said, the moms don't have to worry about their children. They're taken care of, and they can focus on what they need to
Yeah.
work with.
Yep. And pouring from an empty cup, I mean, it's one of those things that, like, when you're trying to break those generational cycles and you're like, I'm tired, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, and you keep pouring from that empty cup, you keep pouring from that empty cup, you are creating childhood trauma for your child. And so, because you're stressed out, you're on edge, you're not being
You're in that
fulfilled.
survival mode.
You're in survival mode, and so, and for sometimes survival mode can look like flight, fight, or freeze. And fighting could be yelling and just throwing stuff around and just being upset with your kids for not wanting to listen or mind. Your freeze could just be that, you know, you're turning into, like, you're getting into that depressed mode of, like, I can't do this, I can't move, I can't keep going. And then your flight is, okay, I'm running from my problems, I can't face my children, I can't do this, and you're pawning your kids off on other people, and you're not making those cognitive wise decisions when you're pouring from that empty cup, because, like you said, you're just in survival mode.
Yeah.
And so,
And
yeah.
it affects the children.
So, yep.
So come to Monday Night Five to get refilled.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you one more question, like another question. It's about when women are gotten to the point. I'm gonna ask it like this: when it comes to like this, I want to ask you, what about mothers that are like very independent and have the idea that they don't need like help, but they struggle in silence?
Sometimes that just takes them hitting rock bottom for them to be able to come, because you can only lead it's almost like you can sit there and offer and offer and offer that mom, and if she's still stubbornly saying no, 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 sometimes you just have to back off and pray, and
There'll come that moment where they will need that.
it will come that moment where they'll have that epiphany or the God calling it, like, this is what God's telling me to do now. And that's the hard part. You need this, and you there for them, and you're telling them time and time again, but they're just set in their ways in that sense. And so sometimes it is hitting rock bottom. Sometimes it's just praying for them from afar until they're willing to come in on their own. And so,
Yeah, there'll come a time where they'll realize that I can't do this alone. I can't keep going again on that survival mode, or they're just thinking, I got it together. I was that one person. I had it all together until that one day I realized, no, I don't.
yep.
And that's where I realized I need people in my life. I can't do it all by myself. So, yeah, they'll come around and you'll realize it. Unfortunately, it's not fun to go through it, but we all need people. We all need someone to lean on, to help you stand up, which is our motto is stand and stay.
Yeah. Yep. Stand and stay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a couple more questions. You gotta get me out of here. Well, what is something that you recently forgave yourself for about being a mom?
Something that I
Forgave yourself.
forgave myself. I had to forgive myself for not being there for my kids. Like I said, at one point I was in a survival mode. I had to make ends meet. I worked hard. I did everything for my kids except being there for them. I was present, but I was not. I was always busy doing to make sure that they had everything. So they missed their mom, and it took them to tell me, hey mom, this is not what we want. Yeah, thank you for providing for us, but we need our mom. We need you to sit down. And then once I realized that was needed, I was able to stop. And we went to the skate park. I ended up being there, doing things with them. I took time out. Again, I think that's part of that self-care. I took time out to spend that time what they wanted to do. They want to go to the library, let's go to the library. They want to go to skate park, let's go skate park. I don't skate, but I'll watch you. So yeah, I look back and I'm like, oh, man, they miss that. But you know what? I can use that experience too when I see a mom. And I shared my testimony on a Monday night, and I said, it's great, but you're gonna burn out, and you got to have those people to help you out. So yeah, that was something that I had to just let go and realize that, okay, I went through that, but now I can help another mom with it.
What's your proudest moment being a mom?
The proudest moment? I don't know. I just received I had another mom that
yes.
messaged me this week telling me that because my kids are really involved with the ministry as well. I have 6 children, so I have some that's grown, and so they're helping. And some of the other moms really saw them in action, especially at the conference. And I got a text saying, you did a good job with your kids. You're doing a good job. Your kids are awesome. I love their heart. Just so many compliments, and it made me feel good because there's times that you go, am I really doing the right thing? Am I doing all that I can do? So when you receive that encouragement, it's like, yes, I'm doing good. I gotta keep on. So yeah, I was really pretty proud of myself this week, hearing the compliments and seeing my kids. So yeah.
Carrie, what's your proudest moment?
I would say maybe there's like 2, and they kind of go hand in hand. Being asked Jesus to be his Lord and Savior, asked him into his heart, and he was really kind of intrigued and was wanting to learn more about how Jesus died, why he died, and how he rose 3 days later and stuff like that. But the proudest moment was when he asked Jesus to be his Lord and Savior into his heart and stuff. But most recently, over the summer, he was struggling with a lot of bullies and stuff like that within the daycare system, and it was just very hard. And so I ended up making the decision to pull him out of daycare. But he's been in counseling now, and he's been seeing his counselor for about a good year and a half, and I'm so thankful for her. And because during this incident, like, he wouldn't really open up to me or my sister, but he opened up to her and was able to explain to her what was going on. And so it was after, like, I pulled him from daycare, and he had a follow-up appointment with her, and he goes, I forgive them, because that's what Jesus does. And he goes, I forgive them, but I also ask Jesus into my heart. And what that looks like is you're no longer a bully when you ask Jesus into your heart, because you love like him. And she emailed me that, and for him being 6 years old to grasp that and understand that you're a new person in Christ and you should love like Jesus. Like, I mean, that right there tells me that, Mama, you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it without a dad present for him, and you're teaching him that Jesus and God is going to be our providers. And so that was really heartfelt for me.
That's good. That's awesome.
So.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being on my
Yeah.
podcast.
You're welcome.
Is there anything I want to shout out, any upcoming events or anything coming up?
Monday Night Thrive starts this Monday, September 18th. We'll go for 7 weeks straight, every Monday at First Christian right here on the corner of the Loop and Broadway. If you know where Canes is, it kind of shares the same driveway. But we're meeting there. There's a child care program, meals provided every night. We don't have anything big really going on, because we just finished the conference. So our next bigger events will probably be our Thanksgiving feast and then our Christmas party.
Yeah.
So,
All right, thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome.
Yay!
You did it.
We survived. That was actually great setting.
Yeah.
Doing it like this, more than just
Interview style.
Yeah.
Because I felt comfortable. I was
Yeah.
just talking. Were you nervous?
Yes.
Oh, I felt fine. After I sat down, I was like, okay, I'm fine now.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, you're very easy to talk to." Like, I'm always nervous because I always wanted to go well. Like I never wanted to have you guys like look bad in the podcast. So I'm trying to think like, what questions do I ask? What do I do?
Oh no, you're good. You're
I'm
good.
stuttering sometimes. Like, oh my goodness.
That's
That's
okay.
real, that's
It's real. It's raw, and that's what people like. Authentic. Like you want to be authentic and be natural in yourself. And because we're human, we all make mistakes. We all stutter. Like we all. I mean, like we didn't know the answer. What? 68 life, what?
You know, like I said, I shared my story on the Monday Night Thrive. Well, I was like the last one for the last section, and I seen all these great speakers. I'm not a good speaker. I'm not very good at communicating, and I was preparing myself. I can't be as good as they are, and it's like I got up there and I'm like, okay, y'all, you know me, I'm nervous, so just want to let you know, and it went fine. And then afterwards, I had other women coming in. They're like, I love how you were raw and humble, and you laid it out there.
Yeah.
So it's okay to be not perfect.
Yeah.
I don't have to be like that.
Yeah.
You can be yourself.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you can be yourself too. It's okay to stutter.
Hey,
It's okay to be nervous.
But it makes your people that you're interviewing more relaxed when you're like not I say normal.
wait, yeah.
When you're relaxed and you make those mistakes and you're real. I mean, because there's times that I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to speak in front of a room full of big donors, and
I just had to do that a couple days ago.
it was just like, And so, but it's when the person, the lady that I was speaking with, like she was right there with me and she was asking me the questions and she made me feel so relaxed. So it's, yeah, just be relaxed, be you, authentic, fun.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.